Hey guys, and welcome back. This is HD, and this is going to be the next pro game in my cast series. And of course, if you guys watched my last game, then you guys know that I have a new format going on where I'll actually be casting myself playing first-person view, and then I'll alternate with the next game being a pro replay of very high-level play. And I'm actually going to show you guys the APM of the players currently. And the map is going to be Desert Oasis, which, as you guys know, I kind of dislike because it's such a long distance map to your opponent, and it really kind of encourages very long macro games. So we'll see if this game is going to be representative of that. By the way, it is going to be Jump, who I casted last game, and he's actually messaged me before saying that Jump is actually his friend's account, and his real handle online is actually PredY. So of course PredY is a very good player, as we could see from the last game where he beat Whitera. And so from here on forth I'll be calling the Red Terran player PredY. And his opponent, I'm not too sure who this is, not familiar with all the pros right now, but it is going to be fiRstaNdLast. And this is at the Platinum level, so both of these players very good. As you guys can see, their APM is pretty high, especially PredY, one of the best, really. And looks like the probe is going to make its way into the base, and actually there's something going on here. A proxy gateway coming from fiRstaNdLast, so cheese Louise here. We're going to see some early cheese from fiRstaNdLast, where the gateway is just positioned right behind the resources of the natural. So PredY's probably not going to see this coming, and it's all going to come down to how he reacts, how he plays his game out to counter this cheese. And if you guys are wondering, if you guys are playing lots of Starcraft 2 right now and you guys are getting owned by cheese early on, then just watch how PredY reacts, because I'm sure most pro gamers don't usually fall to cheese. That's all I've got to say about that. As long as you react and you remain cool and you know what you're doing, then you should be just fine. And right now, as you guys can see, PredY just getting his orbital command at 17 supply. Standard so far. He doesn't know that the first Zealot is coming here, second Zealot on the way, and is being chrono boosted, and he's gonna know now. So yeah, for sure he's gonna be saying, well, this Zealot, no way it can make its way to my base unless it was a proxy gateway. And we're gonna see how he responds right now, pulling this Marine back. The first Marine goes down, and you guys can see he's completing his wall off here. This is where PredY is getting his supply depot up so that he can prevent the second Zealot from getting in. Meanwhile, the SCV surrounding this Zealot with a Marine firing at it as well. Zealot goes down, does take out one SCV. Meanwhile, this supply depot is barely staying alive here, with the two Marines shooting at the Zealot behind as well. Supply depot goes down, but PredY gets a second supply depot up. The SCV constructing it dies, but critically, this half-built supply depot was able to stop the Zealot and the probe from making their way into the Terran player's base. So that is how, basically, PredY countered that rush, and he played that very well, very calmly. And keep in mind, guys, I have not seen this game yet. I've seen the first 5 minutes, so that's why I knew that PredY was going to survive the rush. But following that, I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is it is going to be a pretty long game, because I've looked at the replay file size, and I've actually read a lot of reviews about this game. Supposedly very, very good game. So I'm excited to be bringing this to you guys. And it looks like fiRstaNdLast is just going to tech up here, getting a quick robotics facility. Wise play from the Protoss player, getting his robo facility out for that quick observer into the Terran player's base, and for Colossus and Immortal. And meanwhile, it looks like PredY here is going for a counter cheese attack. He's put a factory up right behind the natural base of fiRstaNdLast, and it's almost at the same exact position of where the gateway is across the map. This is interesting. We're going to see what kind of what PredY is going to try to do here. I would assume he's going to get a reactor core up and start pumping out Hellions, and then try to run his Hellions up and do some economic damage. And this could be a very wise move from PredY. Actually, he's not going to get a reactor, just going to pump straight up Hellions. Interesting there. I would have gotten a reactor core simply because it allows you to build Hellions twice as fast. Meanwhile, a Zealot actually getting taken down by a Marauder. So it looks like officially the rush has been stopped. And PredY here with the Marauder, I mean, there's no way Zealots can do anything against Marauder, especially if you micro it around. And let's see, looking back at first and last base here, the Terran player has gotten his SCV inside, so he knows what's going on. He can see the Twilight Council coming up. That can only mean two things. Either there's going to be high temps coming out, or there's going to be dark temps coming out. So he should be very, very well aware of that. He's actually got 2 Hellions out already, with a 3rd Hellion on the way. And right now he actually has an opportunity to just run his Hellions in there and do a little bit of economic damage. But if he does decide to wait, he could probably get more probes if he moves in with more Hellions. And this Zealot actually might scout out the Hellion army. Oh, this is going to be interesting here. Zealot makes its way inside into the Hellion army here, but the Zealot is going to go down. But that's all the Protoss player really needed. Now the Protoss player has walled off his ramp with Immortals, and there is no way Hellions can make their way up a ramp against Immortals. It's just not going to happen. So both players here going for sort of a cheese and then a counter cheese, but it's basically been denied. And I've got to expect both players to kind of revert back to a macro build and just play standard from here on out, as indicated by the fact that the factory is floating back to the Terran player's base. And a command center actually coming up here inside the base for PredY. It's going to be interesting to see where PredY puts his command center. He's likely going to put an orbital command and then float it away. And an observer is out. It is going to see the dropship. So the Protoss player is going to be aware of any potential drop coming inside his base, simply because the observer can follow that dropship forever. And that's going to give fiRstaNdLast the ability to respond quickly to any potential Hellion or Marine Marauder drop. And it looks like these Hellions are going to engage this proxy pylon and just take it down to unpower the warp gate. It's going to be interesting to see if the Protoss player is going to warp in some units to deal with these Stalkers. He could warp in some Stalkers right here and take out these Hellions, just surround the Hellions inside this hole. And we'll see if he decides to do that. He is going to warp in. No, it's going to be Zealots. Interesting. Yeah, those are not big enough to close in the Hellions into that gap. And they're kind of weak against Hellions if the Hellions micro, but a Stalker comes in, and so that is going to save the pylon and keep this gateway powered for another day. Excuse me, warp gate. Meanwhile, lots of Immortals actually coming up here, and they might be coming up to just, I don't know, I guess the Protoss player just wants to keep this proxy pylon alive, but it's going to have to go down eventually, and the Immortal's actually getting taken out, focus fired first. So this Immortal getting microed and pulled back. Big battle going on here, guys. But the medevac dropships up in the air kind of healing all the infantry on the ground. 3 Zealots getting warped in, but no, this is not going to be enough to take down this M&M army, even without the stim pack for M&M. So the proxy gateway, proxy warp gate, and pylon are going to go down. And that is going to be a setback for fiRstaNdLast, losing 1 production facility and a pylon. And that is going to set him back simply because, well, he decided to go for cheese and it didn't pay off. So right now, PredY in control of this game. He's also got way more maneuverability with 3 dropships in the air right now. And is he going to go for a counterattack? Is he going to drop off his units inside fiRstaNdLast base? It's going to be interesting to see how fiRstaNdLast responds to this after having lost all of his army. He might actually not have enough units to deal with this here. A scan going down as well. Good scan too, otherwise he would have walked face up into that cannon. And, oh, this is going to be bad for fiRstaNdLast. He does not have enough units to deal with this, I don't think. And yeah, he's pulling probes off the line as well, probes surrounding the M&Ms, and PredY here forced to fall back. And that is where pulling workers off the line can be a useful tactic. And what do we have here? A proxy pylon round 2? Wow, the Protoss player really going for proxies, and he's got a Dark Shrine up, so he is going to warp in 2 Dark Templars right into the corner of the Terran player's base. And is he going to split? Yeah, he's going to split the DTs, one to the main, one